Welcome back to the North American LCS playoffs. Right now, our quarterfinal series stands at 2 games for Team Impulse, and Team Dignitas have got their backs against the wall. So when we look at going into Game 3, we've talked about the picks. We've really talked about hammered home that the Shen is a big problem for Dignitas and trying to deal with it.
Yeah, ban it out. You're not able to win that lane. Gnar is actually a good matchup into Shen, and Gamsu's still not winning it. He's not taking it to him hard enough. Because Dignitas, they're playing lane bullies, but they aren't getting lane bully type advantages.
Yep. Right, so you drop the Maokai ban, I presume, is what you're going with here.
Well, if you drop that, he's just going to play Maokai with the Kog'Maw. So it's just, there's almost no clear answer here.
It's one global less.
It's one global less, right? Yeah. So you're hoping that then you can at least just match the TPs in every scenario and you're not getting out-pressured.
Yeah.
You know, on the flip side, Tip made some solid adjustments going into Game 2, but they have shown that they're heavily relying on Apollo here, saying we're going to put him on this Kog'Maw, we're going to let him deal the damage. You know, do they shake it up, or is that the point of attack for Dignitas instead of at that Shen?
I think a crucial thing that happened between all these games is that in the second game there was no bans at the like nobody banned anything that was played against them in the previous game, which just shows a kind of a confidence that's like, yeah, we play what we like, and we did not feel fazed by what you played. We're just going to do our thing. Did not have the second game. That's definitely has to change because they cannot play the exact same way for Dig. They could not handle the Shen and the Kog'Maw. Kog is a champion that is, you know, hyper carry, loads of damage, just upfront burst, long range poke, but he is immobile. So you have to be very coordinated in killing him. There was none of that. Kassadin jumping in at erratic times, trying to 1v1 him. That is not happening in the early game, especially when they have a Lulu and the Shen shields to burn through. Like the Braum really not used, like just standing too far up front, trying to just soak up damage when there is no follow-up damage. So Dig is really not playing to the strength of their composition, especially when it requires them to take down a Kog'Maw through the Shen shield. And last game it was through Shen shield and Janet.
Yeah, and to touch on, you were talking about TIP strategy of having Apollo carry. There's a lot on his shoulders. I say you just go back to that if it's available and they don't ban it out. Because why would you show more strategies in playoffs when this is clearly working for you here, and it's going to scare CLG if you walk away with a 3-0 and say, you know what, Double Lift has to watch out. You guys have to practice dive.
Right. So we've shown we can execute on this composition, and we're also going to hold our cards for what else we might have in store.
Exactly. And if you take the composition away, TIP, just personality-wise, they have a lot of dive tendencies. Adrian can play the Leona. So if you take a Kog'Maw away from him, they're just going to run 3 Bash Brothers at you. All
right. Well, we're going to send it back over to our casters to get us into Game 3. On the way, Rush explains how the team's language barriers have hampered Tip's synergy.
사실 의사소통 문제가 제일 커요. 예를 들면은 탑이랑 정글은 서로 한국어로 되게 디테일 있게 얘기할 수 있어서 막 미리 막 상황을 막 3분 전부터 만들어 놓을 수 있는데 막 미드나 바텀 같은 경우는 제가 영어로 소통해야 돼서 막 그런 디테일까지는 안 되고 막 그때 즉흥적으로 결정되는 게 많아서 그렇게 느껴지는 것 같아요.
It's true. It can be really difficult to have to plan all of your things out, and we've talked about how good Russian Impact synergy looks, and yeah, being able to premeditate all your ganks and talk in better detail is definitely valuable.
Yeah, I mean, I try and communicate with people in Spanish. You know, I can understand it's a lot easier, but when I try and come up with a sentence,
I occasionally listen to like the French cast and try to like pick my high school French back up, and I'm like, I missed most of what you just said, but I trust you said smart things. We are into the game though. Here we go. Team Impulse looking to make it 3-0. Team Dignitas looking to make a comeback. We've seen in the wildcard regions, many teams started out 0-2 and actually took at least 1, maybe even 3 games in the case of Japan back. Comebacks are certainly possible, but as the bans do not change up at all so far in this series, we'll see the strategies do.
Yeah, well, they have switched sides back. This time they still don't want to give Russian Italy, which I respect that. It's a smart choice, but the Maokai ban, Impact's great Maokai, but he's also a great Shen. So there's no full reason for Team Impulse to switch this up. The only thing would be Team Dignitas taking Kog'Maw.
I don't see how Dignitas think they're going to win this one differently than they did the previous 2 games. They've been getting outclassed pretty much in every single role. And they haven't switched up anything, so Impulse can just play the exact same thing. And as they said, not have to show a different strategy. Helios does get his Rek'Sai this time around. That is one.
Yeah. They added the Twisted Fate ban in that they had pulled into Game 2. And
yeah.
kept that one ever since game 1.
It's most likely going to be 2 different things, for sure.
Well, they're
Right.
going to steal away Kog'Maw.
Yeah. I think we expected that. That seemed to be pretty like the scenario. Team Dignitas hoping they can play the comp themselves. With Janna being open, Janna is great into Leona, in my opinion. I think it's great into Alistar as well. So, as Irene said, Bash Brothers, Impulse, 3 melee champions in a way.
2.5.
2.5. Up to 3.
We'll go 2.5.
Fair enough. But yeah, Bash Brothers, they are lower damage than Spectrum. Shen and Alistar probably two of the the 2 least damage melee champions in those roles. But
Yeah, I don't know about Bash Brothers.
All right,
with Shen
that's
and
a
Alistar.
fair point.
They're definitely tanks.
Yeah.
Tank Brothers just doesn't sound as cool.
No, it does not sound as cool.
Super Tank Brothers, the new sequel.
Tank Trio. My
Tank
work.
Trio. Okay. Got some alliteration there.
Well, that definitely does signal that Impulse are going to need some more damage from Gate this time. And
Yeah.
I'd expect them not to go back to the Lulu. I'm very curious what Apollo will play if he does go for the Sivir and they try and just rush down this Kog'Maw.
Yeah, I wonder if Team Dignitas is going more disengaged as
The
well.
Oh, yes!
There it is, back against the wall.
Wild card.
Pull it out. Yeah, exactly.
Gangplank locked in. The Thresh for Cubikid as well. A lot of playmaking available. Now Team Impulse have to pick their last few champions.
Yeah, I mean, they still have to pick their mid laner blind. So expect a generic mid laner from Gate, probably the Orianna or the Azir, 2 things we've seen him have some success on in the past. And the main question will be what Apollo ends up playing. Will he just go for Sivir because that's what he did more than any other player played any other champion, 11 Sivir games and 18 games for Apollo, or does he go something different?
It is one of those options, Jat. We'll see which one ends up being. I think you're right about a lot of these, though. Azir being hovered in. Apollo, if he wants to do damage, Vayne is an option. Jinx is an option as the 2 highest damage AD carries remaining. I think it's actually moving the Tristana. It is. So, still a fair bit of mid-game power with that pickup.
Yeah, they can definitely burn down some turrets. You know, with the amount of global pressure advantage that Impact has had over Gamsu, being able to have a Tristana means that if you get that small opening, you can take an objective extremely quickly. Thing is, Gangplank here, wildcard as you said, into the mix. He's got a semi-global influence with his ultimate, plus he can apply a lot of pressure to tanks with his barrel chains, being able to do a large chunk of damage, cutting through armor. The thing is, you know, getting to be able to use those barrels effectively does definitely take some time. Gamsu is a very good player, so I do have confidence that he's been able to get used to the rework.
Camp's going to be rich this game.
Feels like a poke comp that they just pulled together at the last second, too.
Really slick.
AP Kog'Maw had been the norm until recently, and threw us for a little bit of loop. Team Dignitas may have seen it coming, but Kog'Maw, Corki are the 2 you most normally see paired together if you're running the double poke, just like that. And the Gangplank does kind of fit in that mold well. If he gets AD, full AD Gangplank, those parlays crush you later in the game.
And even though he can't stop the teleports of Impact, he's got a global of his own, so he can, in a way, match Stand United in his own version as Gangplank, as well as just teleporting himself. So this could be very interesting for Team Dignitas. I'm also curious what build Gamsu goes for. Keep in mind, with a Trinity Force, a Parlayed Barrel has like 700-ish base damage that you can't crit anyway. So I wonder if he builds more damage or not, or just goes tank from after the Triforce. It'll be fun to watch for as the teams load into the game. Take a minute to update your vote over on Twitter. Send hashtag TIP winner, hashtag DIG win to @Elevable Esports. I have a feeling the toy Gangplank will be maybe a vote upper here for the guys, the Dignitas fans. We're getting ourselves into the game. Can Dignitas pull it back if they lose? This is the end of their season. Team Impulse to win. Can keep it on towards the semifinals.
I like the direction they're going, putting more faith in Gamsu, giving him the ability to carry here. See if he can utilize this Gangplank to take over. But I do worry about Shifter on this AP Cog mid. It's going to take a while for him to become effective. They're versus a Tristana who's going to knock down outer turrets very quickly. And it will be up to Dignitas to wave clear. Buy themselves some time.
What is worth noting is the 2 times Shifter has played AP Kog'Maw this year, even though he has lost lane, they have won both of those games. So Shifter CS-wise, loses lane on most champions he plays. You may as well give yourself an incredible late-game scaling champion who can then execute with safe positioning. Those are things that Shifter is strong at, and it does fit the poke style Dignitas may be able to play.
Yeah, and just the way Kog'Maw even scales up, like if it's kind of a rumble mold where you just need that one item in level 11 and you're fine, and that's Shifter's not going to miss a bunch of XP. So I agree with you, Jad. I think the AP Cog can work very well. The poke comp could be quite strong.
Yeah. The only real peel they have, though, be some Thresh movement here. I mean, Helios can try and play defensively with Rek'Sai, but the Alistar, Elise, Shen coming for you can be difficult to avoid.
Yep.
So
No cleanse on Kog'Maw, going to make it hard.
Luck.
We might see Kiwi have to go Mikhails as a result. And here we get ourselves into the mix. Interesting, yeah, a barrel start for the Gangplank. Auto attack the monster, trigger the thing.
Yeah, and we saw this last game as well. Helios actually smites the Krug from over the wall to get the every 6th hit stun in the jungle. Since Gamsu is tanking early for him anyway, it just speeds up both of the process pretty well. He gets the jungle buff he wants, helps his duo lane clear, doesn't take damage, and then will take even less damage later in the jungle because of the stun he gets from the Krug.
That's pretty solid here. So pretty fast jungle. You can see that Gamsu and Helios will practice this, and they are well on their way. 3 camps already taken down as Team Impulse just starting theirs. So
no, they're even up 3 camps
I mean,
apiece.
in total, but Wolves are like still getting killed as these guys are like leaving the
Well,
place.
the duo lane is just on the other side of the map.
Oh
for,
yeah, you're right. I'm
Impulse.
super dumb. Okay, I miscounted. Good call. Good correction.
Don't be so hard on yourself, freak.
No, I was wrong.
Honest
I
mistake.
deserve. Or was it a dishonest mistake? Maybe I was trolling you guys the whole
So
time.
it does open up this weak side end for Dignitas up here. Adrian's getting in here. Is level 2 on the Alistar. Decent disruption available for him. And Helios going to try and solo as Gamsu runs to try and get lane experience.
Oh, can you get a full reset on it?
It's changed targets 2 times.
One more reset and it would break, but just headbutt him again.
And
It'll be real dangerous.
Kiwi Kid blue got it.
All right, there's the smite though, used on blue buff, just to I guess make sure it doesn't get taken away. No smite benefit for him, no mana pool, but we are on to the lane matchup here. Gamsu in the 2-on-2 alongside Kiwi Kid.
Yeah, let's see how Impulse handled the reverse situation. Last time, in the first game, it was Core JJ had the Tristana, and they were not able to take down the turret before swapping back. So when it was Apollo on Kog'Maw, Corki very similar with a level 6 poke ability. When he swapped back, he had a big advantage in the lane. Shifter, taking a lot of damage under turret, though.
Nicely played by Gate. Once again, he pushes the first few waves in, feels safe, gets a lot of pressure down. And you're seeing him play almost every single time, very far up in the matchup, hoping to, as you were talking about the pregame, Kobe, allow Rush to play around the map and get Gate to respond first.
Yeah, and as Rush just went through mid lane, Dignitas saw his exit path and triple pinged out. They know he's on this top side of the map. Since he hasn't shown in that ward up top ganking, they would assume that he's either farming one of these 2 quadrants of the jungle on this side. There goes the ward over the Raptor Bush side, and Rush knows he's been spotted as well since the buff is procced. Everybody aware of the situation.
All right, so 2-on-2 Gangplank versus 1-on-1 Corki. Gold-wise, top lane's pretty close to the same. AD carries actually significant lead for Core JJ here. We've seen Apollo miss quite a few.
Yeah, the early CS lane with Tristana a little bit difficult.
I think it's
Interesting. He should be able to. Yeah, he should be able to free farm from this point as long as Adrian shows. There we go. Having your support bud in lane is helpful.
Plays him backwards. Kiwi Kid is not going to get him into turret range, so no surprises there.
But
Not
he has
too many
been
barrel tricks.
He has been 1v2 for a lot of this because Adrian was doing the jungle harassment. So it was almost as if Team Impulse was trading a little bit of farm on Apollo, which is surprising since he's been the main carry for them 2 games in a row, albeit on a different champion, for the farm on Rush. We'll see now if Rush can push his advantage on Elise as we approach the mid-game.
Ooh, the hook lands, but the Pulverize is going to buy enough time for not a lot of follow-up damage. And actually, Kiwi Kid taking a fair chunk there. Multiple auto attacks on top of the explosive charge, and now onto the turret they go. still pre-7 minutes, so auto attack's not the most threatening thing right now. Char's going to be quite a bit more, though.
Apollo wants to burn down this turret as quickly as possible. Even though Gamsu is a little bit behind, fairly even in gold with Impact here, he's getting a lot of extra gold just because he's Gangplank and he's plundering from the minions with his parlay.
57 bonus so far.
And especially since, as we just saw there, you can set off the barrel and get that bonus on every minion that dies through the barrel explosion. There will be a gold discrepancy, even though the numbers are very close.
All right, here's the play. Hook's gonna land. They can't catch up Apollo. He's gonna blow up a barrel pretty soon. No, Apollo last hits it, and he knocks in Kiwi Kid. A lot of damage there. Shenalty popped. He jumps in on towards Gamsu. The taunt out of the turret, not gonna be enough damage, though.
Yeah, he's gonna lose out on a lot top because Corky's been pressuring, and Shen has been at his turret this entire time. That was it's a very big wave.
That is a huge wave.
But can they shove him off the turret here? Like, it could be equalized if they can shove him out of experience range.
Yeah, Team Impulse needs to make something positive happen here. I say it was kind of an unneeded teleport, but now he teleports back to get... He actually didn't get the wave. The wave was pretty much dead to the turret already, and they haven't yet secured the turret on the bottom side.
And he didn't
losing out minorly on these trades.
It's not done yet here. Rush comes in to finish the job. This turret very low. Good defensive ward there from Gamsu. Does see it.
No summoners on Kiwi Kid, buddy. Heal. That's not the AD carry. No heal.
He's done. Kiwi Kid 1 hit to go. There's the repel. There's the auto attack. First blood for Rush.
And the turret now. Look out, Gamsu.
Look out. They don't actually finish the turret up. They're just going to go towards him. Head up pulverized orange is used, but it's not going to be K. Gangplank going down. Apollo.
Impact's getting dove on the other side.
Oh my gosh, but it's not really enough. Quarterfinal can't do enough damage. He loses a lot of health in that one.
Doesn't have flash though.
Oh, and Rek'Sai shooting him from below.
But Helios is low as well. A failed dive by Team Dignitas, outplayed by Impact, it seems. And the Shen should be totally fine here.
So a very long series of events. Team Impulse comes out way ahead.
Way ahead.
But that's mainly with some outplays on all opposite sides. Impact going back and forth, lending a hand everywhere and not getting significantly punished. Meanwhile, all the help he gave bottom gives him a turret and 2 kills.
Elise is just so much better than Rek'Sai in these turret diving scenarios. Helios not able to make it happen, ended up on the wrong side of the turret as well. Meanwhile, Rush was able to not only get the kill, but also allow the extra kill onto Gamsu. Yeah, here is Helios. See, he can't stay in there. Not only is he melee, but...
Cord just stopped attacking. Helios was taking the turret, and Cord didn't hit him.
Oh my god.
And then he taunts it afterwards.
Huge misplay.
That's what you don't want to have happen when you're 1 game from elimination. That's the thing that can put you over the edge mentally and just have you collapse. They're already down 2,500 gold now against a team who's already beaten them twice. That one hurts.
The champions are not an excuse for that play. That was just rough.
Helios did the smite, knock up, didn't even swing for an auto attack. Maybe he was afraid of a taunt, but I think it was down at that time. And yeah, Core JJ really just had to hit him.
Yep.
And it was the kill.
Block out the guy and he goes down.
Right click.
All right, life is okay then for Team Impulse. 2,000 gold lead for them. Mid lane pressured pretty heavily. 7 minion lead for Gate. About what you expect for a Cogba lane here. The rest of the team able to keep playing aggressively. Bottom lane outer turret's dead, so the whole team roams up here. 4 men on top of the blue buff to deny this from Shifter. 2 men knock if they really want this fight. A fire back on the Adrian pops zone ulti. Smite takes away the blue buff, and now the battle push is on. Kiwi Kid gonna get dropped out. Gate gets the kill here. All 5 members in the bottom lane, Team Impulse, making it happen.
Even though Impact Shen is 0-0-1, he's had an impact on every single facet of this game. Setting up the kills bottom, Gamsu's there, it's a 5v4, it allows them to steal blue buff, force another kill, and get a dragon. This is turning into a very large Impulse advantage.
Definitely is, Jat. 200 health, there's the Q from Elise, there's the pickup here. 2,500 gold, dragon number 1, feels pretty good for all the Team Impulse players here. 1 game to go to meet CLG in the semifinals. 3-0 start can feel quite nice. Watch that fight one more time.
Yeah, so this is the benefits of Alistar Ultimate. He's free to go on the front lines. Pops his ult right after he gets his combo off. That bought enough time for them to take the blue. Shen teleport does come in as well. Not even necessary. Kiwi Kid going down, and Impulse on their way to closing this out, heading to the semifinals. already in their sights, and they have not had to show much. Completely ignoring Sivir the entire time.
Yeah.
Just repeat pickups of Shen and Elise. Gate has definitely showed up.
No ultimate for Adrian, though. That's trouble.
Takes a whole bunch of damage. One hit away from dead. There's a push on it. Oh, no!
Oh, big one!
Barely gets the rocket out in time. Exhaust or not. No trade kill available. Nice pickup for Dignitas, showing signs of life.
Yeah, Helios ganking the right lane here. If someone's going to have a mid-game snowball, it's going to be Core JJ. He has a CS
Wow,
and
what a
level
good juke
advantage.
right there.
I think a Spiderling tanked the
Was it
anyway.
point blank right in front of his face?
Yeah, because I didn't see the hook go anywhere.
Yeah.
Noble effort.
Noble effort.
Flashing into the cocoon.
Yeah, but honestly, Core JJ is going to be the one that has to take him back in the mid-game here. He's going to have a pretty big advantage on Apollo, who's gone Avarice Blade on Trist, especially if he gets Trinity Force with his level advantage.
Yeah.
And they really, really need that because every other lane is flailing right now.
See if they can salvage this one. Level 8 Gangplank kill trying to scale up is going, of course, for Trinity Force. I think you need Sheen and level 9 to one-shot Caches, but when that happens, you get a whole lot of gold income from minion waves. And that could be Gamsu really opening this up. It'll be hard for Impact to deny barrels, and you can really have a huge push lead in the Gangplank matchup coming mid-game. And we'll see if the texture of the game changes because of that.
It's just, when you're facing a front line like Shen and Alistar as the Gangplank, it's fairly difficult to set up the barrel chain for the teamfight scenario.
Yeah, it moves a lot.
So we'll see how he executes, but yes, he will have a good income as far as the mid-game is concerned, plundering away versus Shen, but see if he's able to translate it into teamfight effectiveness.
Azir soldiers do count as attacks on barrels. If you summon 2
Yeah.
soldiers, you can kill it from outside of parlay range because you can hit it at 2 HP. So Gate actually has some interesting gameplay around the barrels to completely deny them. It's a minor point.
Yeah, the other thing is you got to get used to shooting your parlay as it's ticking down. There is travel time there that a melee champion can kill the barrel before you. A couple of nuances.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Another one of interesting note, if you cast a barrel at max range and just walk up in queue, you'll blow it up. It ticks down fast enough that you can't screw that up at max range. Impact in the battle of Gamsu gets away from the barrel, but the explosion gives him the fiery blade to fire back. Gamsu's still trying to farm up, but he's under turret at half HP.
Yeah, this Sunfire Cape versus Phage seems a little slanted right now in the favor of Impact. He's been able to stack armor early in these lanes and at least neutralize, if not push Gamsu in a little bit.
But keep in mind the rest of the team is magic-based. Shifter, though, cocooned in the back lines. Gonna get a lantern to stay safe. But mid lane outer goes down, well pressured out. Gate gonna have his team the second turret kill of the game. TP back to the top for Gangplank, and this should actually start being a lot more farm.
Yeah, and that kind of goes to show how Team Dignitas is losing out very heavily on the map pressure advantage. 14 minutes in, having to burn your teleport to get back top lane in a 1v1, they really need that added pressure for teleport. Yes, Gangplank can assist with an ultimate, but it's just not the same as teleporting in versus what Impact can offer.
He's phoning it in. He's not actually there in the lane with you. Adrian gets the flash, and Tristana half a screen away. Apollo didn't even have to show himself.
I'm surprised he even flashed. You
So
get
much for
orange
his
out of
summoner
the knockup.
spells.
There's just so much map pressure when you have a Shen, plus the Azir in the mid lane, able to take that mid turret and set up his own outpost. Impulse can close on all 3 sides with the turret pushing presence of Tristana and Shen down bottom, ultimate ready. They're basically covering all of their bases. Dignitas trying to huddle together here.
Damage on the Kiwi Kid, down to half HP. Rush chasing him down with the Cinder Hook. Oh, misses the combo. Adrian not gonna feel good about that one. Exhausted, Core JJ. Kill still comes through. Shenalty onto Adrian as well. And they're still looking for someone to knock down. They've already picked up one. Helios may be the second. Explosive charges on. Double kill, actually. The kills just keep going over to Rush. Yeah, a couple of trades back. Nice to Shifter picks up another one. Core JJ helping out. And now Impact on the wrong side of this fight. Adrian in the wrong spot as well. Still a kill picked up, though. Now onto Shifter they go. Soldiers come around, more damage coming through. Will they get Impact in time? Maybe the passive does it.
Get him!
Summoner healed, he stays alive! Wow!
Gate
7-3
has
kills.
heal on Azir, and it saves him at the end right there. Impulse with a boldly aggressive play right there. Coming out.
It's just not the same. Gangplank ultimate.
It's not the same as having a real person there.
You gotta be there. They will get at least an answer down bottom lane, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing that happens here. They start the fight, actually, with the numbers advantage, 3v2. Rek'Sai comes in and equalizes it, but yeah, one Shen can come up, and Gangplank cannot answer because this was a very chaotic fight. Team Impulse is in between turrets, so there's really no retreat by the time Shifter comes in here, and it's game on. Shifter does a good job securing a couple of kills and getting a big amount of gold for JJ as well. The strong members of Team Dignitas need to show up, but there's a Shen here, and Gate is able to get kills as a beneficiary.
And as we just saw, that was all of the mobility summoners from Dignitas carries burned to get those kills. The Ghost, the Flash from Shifter, and the Flash from Core JJ.
Ruh-roh. Yeah, not a good
JJ
thing.
knows. Summoners, get the lantern, he wants it!
Core JJ, okay, gets out of the lantern, gets out, but there's the two-man pulverize. Follow-up damage isn't there. Good flame back up, but Gate is here. The knockback catches the AD carry clean in the jaw, and now Kiwi Kid's also going to go down here. Rocket jump in. Rush with his 5th kill of the game on this Elise, taking over. Team Impulse very far ahead.
I'm liking this Rylai's more and more out of Rush as we see these fights extend on because he's just landing a ranged Q with these things, and there is no escape after that. It's comboing into the cocoon so well. Obviously, that is what we expected, but because they're forcing these extended skirmishes, it's not so much about the quick spell rotation, it's about the longer fight, and it's just growing this lead more and more.
Once again, lack of coordination here from Dignitas. Gamsu nowhere to be found. Didn't even ultimate in that last fight. Does get the turret up top, but that's very little in the way of an answer here for Team Dignitas, and Impulse are looking to make this a pretty clean 3-0.
That would be a really nice thing for Impulse to only fall to the very, very end of the split, a single game loss to Team Liquid. Otherwise, they would have been coming into the series on a 9-game winning streak or more, but still pretty solid here, looking to take down Team Dignitas.
For Team Dignitas, though, they do have the double Trinity Force and Luden's Echo Spike coming in for them. So Gamsu's got his Trinity Force, Core JJ does as well. They at least have the items now that they were building towards. The problem is they're so far behind right now, even with those item spikes. They're just, Impulse just have so much more money. It outweighs the power.
So long road ahead then for Team Dignitas to catch up. It's actually Trinity Force, not Sheen, that's required for the caster to get one shot by a barrel. So now Gamsu actually gets money coming in.
All right.
Might get a bit better for him.
5 kills on the Rushes Elise, by the way, as well.
Rylai's Sightstone really tanky, really scary. Top lane outer goes down. The Pistana Demolition works out. This will be answered though. Core JJ has Trinity Force, so these single item spike champions all have their single item spikes right now. I don't know if Team Dignitas wants to fight a 6,000 gold deficit team fight though. That might make things really difficult.
Well, in each of the two
Gamsu's
games,
cornered here, and they do not have any vision inside their red jungle.
Man.
that was a big barrel. Yeah, a lot of Gangplanks put the barrel inside brushes, so if anyone walks close, it's a free detonate. But in both of these games this series, there has been a decent-sized misstep by Team Impulse in the mid-game that has allowed Dignitas a little bit of a bridge back into the game. It actually gave Team Dignitas a lead in Game 1. It wasn't enough to bring them back to even in Game 2, and this may be their largest deficit of the series at 19 minutes here, so even if Team Impulse makes a mistake, they may need multiple of those things. Or it's the question of, has Team Impulse cleaned up their play enough to not make that mid-game mistake, and can they just close this one decisively?
Well, they have extensive warding on the red quadrant, and Baron is about to come up for Impulse. They've already headed over to the area as well. Will they go for a bait or try and kill it on spawn on 20 minutes here? Looks like they are going to try and kill it on 20 minutes. Comes up and it goes down. Shifter going to try and check with his ultimate, but the rest of Team Dignitas lagging behind.
Rek'Sai and Thresh for bot lane. Shifter defends.
It's dead.
There it is. Wow. Took 16 seconds. Baron Nashor's gone. Team Impulse so far ahead now.
Nashor's tooth used against him. Gate able to burn him down.
The ultimate revenge. Yeah, Azir, one of the best Baron killers in the game, especially having Nashor's for that extra DPS. Multiple soldiers hit.
Emphasis on the D.
All right, cresting into 21 minutes into this one. 7,500 gold. Impulse looks like they're only one team fight away from getting into the semifinals here in North America. They did the semis last time around, but they unfortunately failed and got 4th place in the spring split. They may just improve upon it this time around, coming in as a 3rd seed. Mid lane under fire. Gate playing the pressure game. Knocking down the 2nd turret now in the mid lane.
This is a gargantuan lead. They may actually just consider doing a turret dive. They have a team comp to do so. Having Alistar, probably the best guy if you ever want to dive an inhibitor turret.
You don't even need a whole comp. Just you got Alistar, check. We can do turret.
Right. Those turrets have 85% armor penetration, so the only way you can actually tank it is with straight damage reduction or just a boatload of health like a Mundo. Alistar's pretty much the best at it, but they're not even having to dive right now. Gangplank still split pushing. You need him there. They're giving away an inhibitor.
He's not going to be there at all. Team Dignitas aside. You know what? We can't defend this even with Gangplank. I assume is the call there, so screw it. Let him get a little bit more money. I don't know, but that was the choice made right here.
Yep.
And now bottom lane easily under fire. Impact did teleport to get himself back to the left-hand side. Of course, he's got the ulti still to defend his team. And bot lane tier 2 goes down. Impulse with their 6th turret kill here. They're getting some farm onto Gamsu. He's going towards what looks like Maw Mortius. The farm is not enough. It's just the base falling over and over and over again. Impulse getting farther ahead.
Maybe the dive here. I mean, they don't have to dive if they can just sit it down.
What even stops them there? Okay, Gangplank ulti buys some time.
They got Adrian's ultimate now and hooked him back in.
They do hook him in, but there's a flash. Oh, God. Kiwi Kid's already dead. Exhaust on the back line to get one kill back, though. Shifter picks one up, but Helios pretty low on this one. One more hit will do it. Double kill for Gate. Now rushing the wrong side. Flashes. Dodges the rocket. Oh my God. They caught Shifter. And they take him down. Now can he get much more? Cortez J wants in. He gets a lot of kills picked up. Actually, it's a 4 for 3 and advantage to Team Dignitas.
Because the Alistar ultimate started so early, it ran off while he was in turret range, and it killed him off before Impact was able to arrive at the fight. This is the one time Dignitas had a numbers advantage in the entire game. They do get the cleanup of kills, though.
Thing is, even with the numbers advantage, Team Impulse didn't have to dive into the base. This is the 10K gold advantage greed. You get a little bit of money, you just want more. So Gate, I want to watch him in this fight. He's going for it. So yes, as you mentioned, Adrian, damage reduction runs out. That's the reason Shen wasn't able to shield him enough there. And Rush just, he's up.
He's thinking about it.
He's in. But there's no retreat here. Gate, it bounced so far because it pushed him up against the wall. It had to push him to the other side of the wall, which is actually too far. It put Shifter in position to do more damage. They couldn't follow up.
It caused Rush to miss his cocoon as well. And Rush
jeez.
takes a lot of damage on it.
All right.
Hilarious series of events, but in the end, Impulse still with a massive lead and control over the entire map. This dragon should be number 3 for them, no questions asked.
Wildman inhibitor third at about 1/3 health. Dragon number 3, similarly at 1/3 health. Now at 0 health. Yep, that'll do it. The intense play-by-play of dragon fights.
Yeah, how much of the turret did they actually kill up in that lane as well? It's not regenning that quickly, obviously. That turret's at 800 health right now. Yeah. So that's a Trist.
Pretty much one full charge explosive.
Yeah.
You count the 4 auto attacks.
Or just one or 2 autos and Gate pressing W on it could do it.
Another engage. They catch in a Kiwi Kid. Aggro, though, goes on to someone who is not the Alistar, though. They nearly pick up Impact, who pops his ulti, but can't save the Tristana. Gangplank's doing so much damage. It's second kill in the last 5 minutes here. The chase on Adrian, trying to run away. Barrows hits him. That's going to be one picked up, I assume. Pulverize and a headbutt, not going to be enough. Gamsu on a killing spree. And it's Infinity Edge. Gangplank going to do so much work.
Another mistake. Well, he doesn't have it Infinity Edge yet. Another mistake from Impulse. And this is giving a huge amount of gold back to a team with AP Kog'Maw. Never want to count those out.
You just can't count them out. AP Kog'Maw is too strong. And we said Team Impulse is making one mistake in the first 2 games. Well, this is kind of their second mistake if you consider it. The same mistake on the same objective twice. They overpush. Turret aggro is improperly traded. Apollo takes a bunch of damage right there from Gangplank.
Impact annihilated by the inhibitor turret. Then it swapped over to Apollo as well, and Gangplank made short work of him. Plus, the entire Alistar ultimate mitigated no damage at all. There was nothing on him. Impulse cannot afford many more of those. Maybe 2, maybe 1 more. Yeah. They've got a lot of money. Maybe they can afford to do that 1 more time, but.
Well, Gamsu's already plundered more than 1,000 gold from Parlay here. So he's got 2 upgrades on his ulti already. I'm gonna actually check the tooltip. It's everything except Death's Daughter. That's weird, actually. I thought everyone actually normally went Death's Daughter first, but he got the increased fire rate and the Raise Morale move speed buff.
I've seen a lot of people highly valuing the Raise Morale, actually.
He said it's guaranteed value if they run away.
What a team fight.
And here comes Kog'Maw.
Yeah, and
Speaking of which,
suddenly Impulse are finding out that, you know, even with Alistar on the dive, they're really not making it that successful.
Doesn't matter if you have Alistar if he's not the one taking the turret.
Yep.
And his ultimate is running the entire time as well, so then he doesn't get to.
Yeah. All right, well, 2 items for both AD carries, though, i.e. Shiv versus Trinity Force Ruin King. And keep in mind, Corki is actually a pretty solid damage dealer, so Dignitas suffering a gold deficit, but fighting like they don't have one here.
their inhibitors respawn as well.
Yep.
The main challenge will be whether or not they can contain this Baron that is spawning right now. Obviously, they got it right at 20 minutes, so it's coming up again at 27. This time, AP Kog'Maw can be a little bit more prepared. They shouldn't be caught off guard by a Baron this time, but they still have relatively poor Baron in their own jungle, or coverage of vision in their own jungle, but they have wards towards the Baron pit, which will buy them a little bit of time.
Gamsu given pretty good harassment for his impact as well.
Ulti popped to buy some time. Of course, it does reveal, so Impulse going to run away and not.
Really early Shen out there by Impact. He's had some bad experiences this game with the charge of dying and not making it in, so he's, I guess, just guaranteeing that he's in the fight. But they lose the in-fight impact of that ultimate now.
And they do. So, Team Impulse looking maybe back to the mid lane, but it's AP Kog'Maw. It's pretty hard to deal with. Their last attempt at Baron, they had to abort right away. Trade ultis to the top laners. And they didn't even get to keep a pink ward in the pit, so they can't even remove all the vision anymore. Impulse realized that they cannot faithfully go for Baron again. They've got plenty of time to go until Dragon number 4. It's going to respawn around 31 minutes in, I believe. Nope, close. Not 30 and a half. Impulse once again sweeping away mid. And the siege has slowed down here. Dignitas needs to make the miracle recovery, though. This would be the last game of the year for them if they do not win this.
Looking for the reverse sweep.
Yeah.
For Team Dignitas.
A lot of gold in the inventory right now. There's a lot of items that need to get purchased. Yep, there you go. Gamsu now gets...
How about that wave clear? Gets a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
The funny thing is that Gangplank's income ramps up so quickly in the mid game that once he gets these 2 items, he quickly gets to a full build.
Yeah.
I was watching Quas's stream a couple days ago. He ended up with 4 Infinity Edges at 42 minutes into the game and maxed out with 6 items. Didn't know what else to build, so he just kept buying them.
That's the cool thing is you actually build just raw attack damage on him.
Yep.
You already get the armor pen from the barrel
you've
explosion.
got crit chance on him and attack damage.
Just care more about that. You don't really see the static shift builds anymore because you'd rather have the barrel explosion than the lightning. So it's probably, I would guess actually it's Bloodthirster second, more so than Infinity Edge.
In fact, he crit with his barrel explosions for 2,600 damage.
Sounds about right.
Oh my goodness.
So they have the Gangplank and the AP Kog'Maw.
Hey, there you go.
Hey.
The problem is trying to get one of those explosions to land on Impulse. But if he does, it absolutely demolishes them.
Yeah.
He's gotten a few off by smartly placing them in rushes as Team Impulse has been trying to siege turrets.
Let's see the outplay here.
Brandwoods and Sunfire.
Ben's already used the taunt, so out he goes.
I wanted to see that fight. Come on.
Take a while.
Impact felt like he had the upper hand.
Impact had cavalry, so that's not really fair. He knew that he had an entire team coming.
Gamsu would win the 1v1. I'm actually pretty certain of that.
I mean, that move right there by Impact influences the map pressure for this Dragon. He has been in most of the important places for Team Impulse this game.
Yeah.
4 Dragon starts that count for 5th. However, of teams to lose with 5 dragons, AP Kog'Maw has been on the other side of that 2 times, and the only 2 times that that team couldn't pick up a dragon of their own. So it's actually not as important as it would normally be for Team Dignitas to get a dragon, just because of how ridiculous Shifter can scale on AP Kog'Maw. No lead is really ever safe against a late game AP Kog'Maw.
Absolutely not. 3 items now on the AD carry of Team Dignitas as well, meaning for the time being, CoreJJ is actually more threatening than Apollo until that Bloodthirster gets completed. And even then it's debatable. Still more damage coming through on this Gangplank, sitting on 300 gold. He's got a while to go till the upgrades further, but it just gets scarier and scarier and scarier. This Gangplank can also use those barrels as wards. They last 1 minute and reveal a little bit of area around them. So Dignitas have stopped the siege value because they can wave clear. They seem to be stopping Baron really easily with all the ward coverage they're getting and all the scariness they have. And the team fights themselves. You got Kog'Maw and AD Gangplank. Like, those are hard to deal with champions here. So Impulse need to figure out the right way to close this game out, it seems.
The wave clear is just so good for Team Dignitas. Gamsu clears it with 1 barrel. Corki can clear well. Shifter can clear well. Baron is absolutely required to get anywhere with the siege. Maybe even a Banner of Command, but they're nowhere close to that because it looks like going Zeke's Harbinger on Adrian.
Heck, the Banner Banner just dies to a barrel explosion practically. Even that would
because that's the physical damage.
Yeah.
So that'll stop.
If he crits it, it actually kills the minion outright. If he doesn't crit it, like, goes to half. We're seeing 600 damage, not counting barrel explosions. So to champions, it's an 860 damage barrel before crit. Oh, nicely timed by Impact. Set up 2. There it is. 488 with all his armor, with everything else.
218 armor.
And I believe that wasn't a crit because the minions are from 600.
Yeah, wait till he gets 4 Infinity Edge.
Yeah! Hey man, this is the tons of damage build. You have my 2 favorite items. Trinity Force and Infinity Edge. I couldn't be happier. All right, Bunny Fufu.
I'm gonna hold you to that.
It better be Cottontail. Impact. Yeah, doing a really good job of last hitting those barrels away. But you only get to make that mistake about twice and you just lose. Keep in mind, the passive from Gangplank also deals true damage and scales with attack damage. So he can just, like, he does win the 1v1 against Impact.
It does make you nervous trying to defuse that bomb when you have a split second before it explodes in your hand. The red wire
progression of this series even. I mean, Team Impulse jumps out to leads, then they make some mistakes.
They're just waiting for their dragon stacking. Basically what they want to do is chain their neutral objectives, grab the 5th dragon into a Baron for the final push because they've messed up their dives 2 times in a row. I was saying they could afford to do it 1 more time, but they don't think they can even afford to do it 1 more time. They're not taking that risk.
I'd be hesitant.
And Shifter and Gamsu definitely making them second guess themselves, so they're going to wait it out.
You give up Baron if you die too badly, so. All right, defensive for Impulse. Just keeping the ward control up, playing around the dragon, as you said, Kobe. And really, Team Dignitas is getting farm in a whole lot of places. Minion lead for their top laner and their AD carry here.
How many chances will they get?
One interesting point, though, is the fact that I feel like Kiwi Kid should have made the dip to switch to coin at some point. Because the gold income, by just running between every single wave that like loses minions, he would have had probably 600-700 gold from Ancient Coin. He's only got 300 from his Relic Shield.
Yeah, especially if he's not going to upgrade to face them out for the active shield.
Well,
but at the same time,
even if you do go with the active shield, that's not going to save you from the dive. I feel like the move speed for both carries is so valuable. The cooldown on Talisman active being so low provides a lot of disengage for Kog'Maw and Corki.
Would have got the Locket Shield for Kiwi Kid, unlocking a more selfish build of Helios. We're not seeing that same Zeke's builds from the first game. I'm sad. I love that item. And here we go, actually. Rush.
The Baron threat saves Rush.
He didn't even have Smite there. We saw Death Daughter was there, so fully upgraded Cannon Barrage for Gangplank here. And here's once again a battle against Impact. Another Baron. There's the Q. 666 damage.
You chase him down.
More crits. I mean, Impact cannot win this fight, and he's out of energy.
Into a wall.
Yeah, he can run. at least. There's no
Here we go.
Gangplank ult to help
into
chase.
into Q.
We're really seeing, though, the
Proxy's
tools
got
that Team
flashes,
Dignitas
huh?
has to stop Team Impulse from closing this game. They're pushing them easily off of Baron. They're even pushing them off of the waves. There's been an
45
exposed inhibitor for the last 15 minutes, pretty much, and it's been untouched.
This is huge for Team Dignitas, being able to clear out the true site in Baron Pit and finally establish
They could
some
rush it
of their
right now
own
if they commit.
hordes.
Oh, and they're going to go for this one. Blade of the Ruin King is up, plus Crit Plank is here, so this is going to be a lot of damage. Impact teleports in. A knockup
Cancel.
actually on some pretty important people.
That was just the biggest bluff in the world by Impact. His support was so far behind. Team Dignitas had the window to burst down that Baron, but they did not have the vision to know it.
Flashlight catches Rush, but he has nowhere to jump. He's going to go right back down, sliver the box. The catch!
Gate!
On to Gate! Gate knocks him in. He flashes out. He stays safe. Impact burns the TP. Burns the ulti, rather. Into the front line they go. And they've picked off Shifter. They've picked off Gamsu. Two of the biggest carry threats are gone. Quarterfinal, the third is down. That might be the game.
Unbelievable right there. Team Dignitas holds out so well, but it's a fight that they pick yet again that could be their undoing.
The double summoner spending there from Gate, getting himself out, and the re-engage from Adrian. Team Impulse looks like they will be able to close out the third game. Not
That's
so
all.
cleanly, though.
Not so cleanly, but it was all Impulse wanted, just a fight of 5v5 on open ground. No turrets to defend you this time around, and the battle works out. A 3-for-0 to end it. That's going to be the game. Rush, 7-2-8, the scoreline for him. 3-0, Team Impulse into the semifinals.
Big win for them as they try and move towards Worlds as well, locking themselves down at least a top 4 spot, and they'll definitely be going to Madison Square Garden as well. All
right.
without Xiao. Gate filling in very well, being able to escape in that last fight. But definite red flags coming up in this series. Not able to close the game in decisive fashion. A lot of big mistakes, and ultimately, it had to be, in most games, Team Dignitas initiating onto them, and then having Team Impulse win the fight, which is not the way they like to play.
Yeah, game 2 is the only super convincing game there from Impulse, where they had engage tools. They had the Leona come out from Adrian, and he landed a lot of really good engages. Rush had some great cocoons as well. Elise all 3 games, Impact playing Shen all 3 games. It felt like Impulse were trying to hide as many strategies as possible. Play the same style if you can each single game. If they deny champions, well, I guess pick something else, but if they don't, just play the same comp.
Yeah, and ultimately they were never tested because they didn't lose a game. They were tested within the game, but the 3-0 is a very clean victory. It's also a fairly disheartening way to lose for Team Dignitas. They had come so far from the promotion tournament into the playoffs with a chance to go to Madison Square Garden, and they were somewhat their own undoing. When they had the game even or equalized, they would overcommit, and they were the ones being punished for that as well. Unfortunate ending to Team Dignitas' season.
All right, well, they end their season now, but we've got more to talk about because we've got Riv on the blue side for a word with Team Impulse's victorious jungler.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Great cast on the day. I am joined by Rush here on stage, victorious after winning their game. Fantastic play all around, and also joined by Sunny as well for translation. Rush, the last 12 of your 13 games are wins. The second half of the split was amazing for you guys. What was the preparation like coming into quarterfinals?
러시 선수 일단 축하드리고요. 이번에 이제 마지막 13개 경기 중에 12개를 정말 파죽지세로 이기셨는데 어떻게 이번 8강 준비하셨는지 조금 설명해 주세요.
사실 준비할 때 이번 패치 사실 룬글레이브가 엄청 핫했잖아요. 그래서 룬글레이브 챔피언 위주로 많이 연습했어요. 왜냐면 저번 플레이오프 때 제가 제뿔과인 메타를 많이 못 따라가서 고생했었는데 이번에는 룬글레이브를 살 수 있는 챔피언 위주로 연습을 했어요.
그 저번 때 있었던 아이템이 뭐예요?
저번에 플레이오프 했을 때 신더르크가 약간 제가 잘 못 써서
네. So Runeglaive items were generally really hot this meta. So I prepared a lot of champions that could use Runeglaive items. Last split I couldn't really use champions that took advantage of the Cinderhulk buff, but this split I was able to do that.
Well, you did it fantastically. Everyone saw that was your kind of weak point, but you played those champions very well this split. My second question, Rush, Gate came in very late into the season. How is the team doing now, and do you guys still have the potential to take Gate and the team all the way to Worlds?
게이 선수가 조금 늦게 팀에 조인했잖아요. 그런데 그 게이 선수가 잘 하고 있는지 또 그 롤드컵에 가는 거에 대해서 어떻게 전망하고 계시는지.
사실 게이트가 어떻게 보면 신인이니까 경험이 없어서 보이스를 쓰면서 하는 게임에 되게 약해요. 그러니까 자기가 집중을 못하는 문제가 있는데 스크림에서 그런 문제가 발견될 때마다 하나하나씩 고치다 보니까 오늘 이렇게 3대 0으로 이길 수 있었고 앞으로도 더 잘해질 거라고 생각해요.
So he's new to the team, so he can't really focus to the voice comms. But I think he's progressing or getting better at that.
And what are you doing to help Gate, if anything, right now? Are you kind of letting him do his own thing?
게이 선수한테 어떤 조언해 주시는지.
그러니까 게이트가 약간 신인으로서 많이 부담감 느끼고 실수하는 것에 대해서 되게 막 스트레스 받고 그럴까봐 나도 처음에 엄청 못했고 지금 못해도 상관없으니까 그냥 앞으로 똑같은 실수하지 말라 이런 식으로 부담감을 많이 줄여주고 있어요.
So he has a lot of pressure on his back as he's new to the team. So I tell him that I also went through the same thing when I joined the team, and I'm always trying to be encouraging.
Always good to have that big brother around. Final question, Rush. Counter Logic Gaming next week. A very strong team. They've gotten themselves a pass so they can watch you play and the other teams now to be even stronger. How do you feel about the matchup versus Counter Logic Gaming in the semifinals?
그러니까 CLG전에서 사실 되게 오늘 기분이 좋은 게 상대 쪽에서 리신 니달리를 계속 밴해줘서 제 리신 니달리가 얼마나 강력한지 보여주지 않은 CLG가 더 무서워할 것 같아요.
So this game was really good that the other team constantly banned my Nidalee and Lee Sin. So I can show to CLG how strong my Nidalee and Lee Sin are. So hopefully that'll affect their pick and ban.
Well, congratulations on the win and best of luck continuing on in the playoffs. Now we're going to throw it back to the analyst desk to break down the rest of the day.
We will go to them in a second. We're going to talk with these guys real quick, though, as these guys are great analysts as well, so you're not entirely wrong. Tell me about your final thoughts on how Impulse Dignitas played, as we are going to eventually send it over the dash, too.
Yeah, well, looking forward for Team Impulse as they move up in the playoffs, teams have to be thinking about what they're going to do to answer this much map control. Impact over Gamsu had a whole bunch of influence on the early stages of the game, even with the teleport plus the Shen ultimate. I'm very curious to see what Zion will run into this Shen, because he can run Olaf straight into the Shen, and I feel like he'll be able to keep up the pressure there and take away a lot of the cross-map plays that Impulse were going for, and force Impulse into more diverse strategies, so they have to show more than they've showed here today.
Yeah, and even though these games were close within the game, Team Impulse really never had to adapt to anything. So the amount of scouting that CLG can get on them is very minimal. It excites me for that series, because even going back to the spring, when we're saying, can Rush adapt to this new meta, it looked like he could. In the quarterfinal matchup, he crushed with Cinderhulk Rek'Sai and Cinderhulk Vi. We're thinking everything was golden. Then they collapsed in the semifinals. So they also have to prove themselves when they get challenged.
And personally, I'm actually very excited for the bottom lane matchup in next week's match, because when Apollo got Kog'Maw, he missed out on a single kill. That was a Rush solo kill in the end game. 96% kill participation, highest damage in the game both times on that Kog'Maw. Up against Doublelift, who's one of the best AD carries in North America and has been for a very long time. I think that's, oddly enough, a very big matchup for
It's actually a pretty good point, because a lot of people are saying, oh, Apollo only plays Sivir. That's why he always has this great kill participant. That's why he always has, all the assists and everything, because Sivir, all you have to do is pop your ultimate. But he did this on Kog'Maw, so impressive.
All right, so an impressive game by Team Impulse, 3-0 for both of our LCS series today. And to wrap up our day's coverage, let's throw it over to the guys on the analyst desk.
Thank you, gentlemen. We'll do some looking forward in just a minute ourselves. I do want to do a recap of this series, though. Get your guys' thoughts, as they just did, on how this series played out for both teams.
Well, I feel like it was just mostly pure pressure of the bot lane. Leave top alone, leave mid alone, and just sit bot lane with your Shen pressure, and Dig had no answers to it. 3 games in a row, Shen just constantly TPing bot lane, ulting bot lane, goes back to lane, does the exact same thing, and is unpunished. Even in the very late game, Gangplank cannot punish the Shen, he just runs away.
Yeah, it was pretty much the same as games 1 and 2. They just seemed paralyzed, like they weren't doing anything. They were slowly just losing the game, rolling over. They tried some things.
Well, they did adjust, so that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's not that they didn't try anything.
No,
they brought out the Gangplank. They went with the AP Dankplank.
I like the Dankplank.
Yeah, they brought out the AP Kog'Maw mid, taking that away, trying to go late. Unfortunately, the lead was just too big.
It's still the Shen is just stopping you from making any aggressive moves in the bot lane, and they're not going towards the Shen. But even if they did, Rush has such great synergy with Impact that he can call if he thinks somebody's up there, and he'd be out there in an instant. So it was really just testing parts of Dignitas' composition and their players, and they just didn't seem up to the task all 3 games.
All right, well, we'll look forward to that CLG series in just a moment. There was one man that stood out from today's action and grabbed our Player of the Series honors from Team Impulse's top lane. It's Impact. Now, he showed up on Shen, and regardless of the lane matchup, continued to be a global presence and created opportunities for his team everywhere.
I mean, there's not much to say. This is how you play Shen. Instead of using the ultimate defensively, which I don't think he really did many times. Like, I'm sure he did it a couple times because 3 games of Shen.
There's like a lost team
most
fight.
of the ults were just used for somebody to go into somewhere. Like, okay, dive. Like, set the play on the bot lane. Shen just goes in constantly. And
you were mentioning during game the fact that every single one of his ults netted a positive in some way. Whether it ended up just being a turret take, a kill, whatever it was, they were always like proactive ults that the team was using to gain advantages.
And I think it's just a testament to how practiced the Shen is, because we saw him lane into the Nara twice, and Gamsu did misplay it here and there, but he played the Shen lanes very well, whether it was against Gangplank, Tristana, Corki, Nara. He was laning excellently in all of those games, and Shen's laning phase is his weakest part, and he bypassed it excellently.
Yep, right, exactly. Able to lane against the AD carries, almost killed Lucian at one point, forced a flash by himself. And the way that he's able to keep his cooldowns, know that I'm going to go top with this, and I'm going to come back with the TP because the lane will be pushed right at the time that we're done with this fight. So just really good presence of mind all across the map and awareness there on his Shen. And that's something you should be banning in the future.
Well, I was going to say, funnily enough, though, the threat of his Maokai was enough to keep the Shen on the table, right? So that's when you talk about looking forward with that Lee Sin, Nidalee ban and the Maokai, like, you got to be, who are you giving up, right, to let that Shen onto the ban list?
Yeah, I feel more comfortable playing different things, more variant things into a Maokai than I do a Shen.
Okay.
Just because Shen gets advantages from going to other lanes, and he can do it more frequently.
Right. Well, we'll see if other teams decide to switch it up when it comes to playing against that Shen. We're going to pull up the bracket and see how it's filling out. Team Impulse have secured their spot in the semifinal and will face off against number 2 seed Counterlogic Gaming next week. That means that Team Dignitas' postseason is over, and they have lost their shot at Worlds for this year. Tomorrow, we'll be able to add the results of our second quarterfinal, 4th seed Gravity versus the defending champions, TSM. That coverage will begin immediately following the conclusion of the European quarterfinal series between Unicorns of Love and Roccat. That gets underway at 8 a.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Central European summertime. Now, I do want to take a moment to look ahead to those series. Both the one tomorrow here in NA, which is between Gravity and TSM. Let's start there. Do we think Gravity, as they dropped from that first place slot to 4th rather drastically there at the end of the split, are they going to show up and give TSM a run for their money?
Yes. I think so.
I don't know.
Granted, they did fall off towards the end quite hard, but I do think that's maybe a little bit of the winning fumes getting to their head and getting a little cocky on there. But they have enough time to prepare and realize that they got to go back to what they were doing in the middle of the split. They're playing pretty well with the vision control. The Sightstone Nidalee, quite liked it.
Sightstone Nidalee.
And TSM was struggling as well a lot. So I think that if both teams try to get back to the form that they had achieved in this split, Gravity was at a higher form.
All right, so returning back to form, Gravity nets higher.
I feel, though, that TSM has been preparing a lot for this matchup. They're actually just taking a good hard look at Gravity. Think of the times that they've matched up against each other. Keen played an Urgot in the mid. Bjergsen immediately picks it up in solo queue, not just knowing how to play against it, but play it himself. Then next time he plays the Urgot, he goes 0-9 against him. So Bjergsen comes out in the better. Then a Jarvan gets played into his AP Ezreal. Now Bjergsen is spamming Jarvan in solo queue, learning how to play that champion and play against it. And I feel like the edge that Gravity has had in the mid lane, the one where they're saying, oh, he has this counter pick where Keen can get the advantage on you there, they're not even going to get it in Champion Select because they are blue side 4 times, I believe. So TSM...
3 times.
3 times blue side. In a best of 3, you have to lose 3 times.
Right. Yep. Oh, we'll see. That series will prove to be very interesting. Now, keying off of today's matchup, Tip going up against CLG. Thoughts on that matchup? As Tip didn't really, we mentioned multiple times, didn't really have to show a whole lot of strategy, to get through this best of 5. Or, diverse strategies is what I mean. They showed strategy, not very many of them.
I am really looking forward to that one, specifically because I know for a fact that Zion can punish somebody that's just going to constantly leave lane. So he's going to be able to take the tower and take a pick that can really bully a lane, such as the Olaf, the Fizz, the Gnar, and play it a little bit better. And who knows what other picks are out there that can just be full-on lane bullies. I mean, Riven, we know he can play Riven. Is he going to pull it out
Still waiting
somewhere?
on that one. Waiting on that one.
One day.
Come on, Zion.
Or more Dankplank.
Yeah,
oh my God.
Dankplank.
But also, it's going to be CLG. Do they have to show a new strategy? Because they've just been plugging and playing different champions that do the same thing. So over time, I want to see how that series develops, because there's going to be a meta inside that series. I assume Shen will be contested at some point, and then who has the counter to who. So that red side, blue side is really going to mean a lot in that series.
Yeah, a lot of excitement still to come, to be sure. Now, as promised earlier in the show, we're going to put Zyrene in the hot seat to field some of your questions, and we've got a couple of doozies. I hope you brought your A game. You ready?
I hope so.
You look terrified. All right, our first comes from Seizure Puppy. I have 2 weddings to attend this weekend. Can you give me some tips on how to light up the dance floor?
2 weddings. First off, congratulations to both of your friends. But so when it comes to dancing, I don't know a whole lot about it. I actually just kind of flail around and find the least awkward feeling sensation.
Okay.
But I know that you should move your feet, move your hips, and move your shoulders and arms. Get this all moving.
So move your body. You should move.
But that's the thing, is a lot of people stay stiff and they don't move things.
Okay.
So people are like, that guy can move. Yes, because you are in fact moving. So do that. Do not stand still. Do not pin your arms against your sides. That's the worst thing in the world to do. So yes.
It's got to be fluid, is what you're saying.
Feet, hips, shoulders, and arms.
Fluidity. I like it. I like it. What about you, Crumbs? You fancy yourself a dancer?
Oh, I like dancing.
Oh, there you have it. Do you have any, have any tips?
Well, personally, I'm not the kind of person that would just dance by myself.
Okay.
So I wouldn't know.
Oh, also.
Zyrene's always off in the corner having his own private dance party.
I was off in the corner for that.
You
They
really
put me
were.
in the corner for
you
that.
were just like, but it didn't matter to you. Didn't matter to you.
Yeah. Other thing too is haters gonna hate. So just do your own thing. Don't worry about it.
There you go. Confidence is key. Next up, Rakashak says, we see the meta go through cycles. What should we expect next on the road to Worlds?
I think we're actually seeing a lot of development in terms of top lane getting TP priority with jungle synergy. And as this new patch that'll be coming out that favors juggernauts, bruisers in the top lane, and making sure that they can actually just destroy their opponent. Like, the whole concept of a juggernaut is they do a lot of damage and they're tanky, but they don't have that many gap closers. So they're a destructive force when they make it to you.
Right.
But I feel like that is going to be a little overtuned when it first happens. See what happens if it gets patched in time for Worlds. I know the new Hydra item and these things that are on the horizon seem very powerful. Darius, Garen, all these different changes coming out. So as they get tuned, I think that's going to start coming into the meta. And if you can dominate a top laner, you get TP priority.
I think if there's one thing we can expect for Worlds, it's Orianna and Corki being the best 2 picks.
As always.
No doubt.
As always,
Put your money
without
on
fail, it will return to Orianna and
It might
Corki.
actually. Sivir's getting a little hit, so Corki, I mean, perfectly balanced champion. He never gets touched. He's good.
I know, right?
Yeah,
He's a solid champion. All right, next up we have Mike Wazowski. He says, which player do you think has had the most surprising performance this split, positive or negative?
I'll actually do both. So
Okay.
for positive, I'm actually going to say Phoenix here, because this is a guy that they barely made playoffs with Liquid, and then he came out and he started being the Phoenix that everybody was talking about in scrims. And now he seems like number 1, number 2 mid laner in NA. That's a huge improvement there, so I'm very surprised by Phoenix's performance carrying Team Liquid a bit. Person that I'm negatively surprised by is Trashy. I watched this guy all throughout Challenger. I thought he was going to be a really good jungler when he came in, had a little bit of a break, visa issues, came back, and then he just didn't seem like himself all throughout. He was not applying pressure, and he really fell off and just abandoned his jungle style.
Anyone that's particularly surprised you, Crumbs?
Rush, to be honest. You know, just seeing a solo queue player and just being able to consistently we're always talking about, can he adapt? Can he adapt? Yeah. I find that he has been able to adapt constantly. And the ability, the resilience to just always pick Lee Sin. I think it's a great pick, and it's just a confident pick. You need to be good at the champion. You need to know what to do, and he does it every time.
Yeah, there's almost something really cool about the fact that he can be stubborn in the Lee Sin pick. Right? He has adapted in other areas, but he can also just be like, no, I'm going to continue to play this champion that I like. I don't care what the meta says. I'm going to play this champion. I'm going to kick your ass with it.
Ding, ding.
Yeah, right? All right, next up we have Battle Tutorial. It says, which of the other casters or pro players would you bring with you on a deserted island?
Would I bring with me?
Yes.
Oh, I wouldn't bring anybody because that's just mean. Why would I take you to a desert island? If I liked you, I wouldn't take you with me.
Okay, so you're going to choose someone you dislike?
Yeah, I would take Dash.
I quit.
No.
I'm done.
I probably actually would take you because I know that you're extremely fit. You'd be able to climb trees, get me coconuts and stuff like that.
So I'd be your errand boy? I'm your servant?
No, he's a leader. He's a leader, and he would do this for his underlings, right? He would do it for his desk.
Oh my God!
You're
not making a very good case for it.
I know.
It sounds like this is gonna be a lot of work if I come. I don't know if I
want you as his coconut boy. That's what you're gonna do.
Yeah,
Nobody ever said being on a desert island was fun.
That's true. No one ever did that. Next up, at Not Riot Twiff says, what can a jungler do to get back into the game when he's being heavily counter-jungled? I feel like this is going to be a question both of you can answer.
Yeah, I actually got some advice from Crumbs because my original advice was ward up, make sure that you are contacting your laners and saying, if this guy shows up, then we're going to be able to collapse on him. Prime them for the opportunity. Don't be like, oh my God, he's here, and then pinging them in the moment. You have to prime them, ward your entrances, ward a side of your jungle, and make sure that it's safe.
Yeah, and another part about it was that as soon as you're starting to get counter jungle and you know that you cannot fight the other guy, just leave. Go do something else. Because if you just stick around, he's getting the experience, he's getting the gold, and you're just sitting there watching.
Yep.
Like, you're doing nothing. So either you go to his side of the jungle because you know he's not there. There's not enough time to do all 4 sides of the map to actually get...
Something's available.
Yeah, something's available.
Yeah. And the worst thing to do is to let it happen. Because when that happens, you're being pressured. Apply pressure to the pressure, or else you're slowly bleeding out over time. If he's on your right side of the jungle, go to his left side, go to his top side, go to the opposite side of him, and ward up there. Get out, clear your left side. Then you know where his movements are, keep track on him, and just avoid him for a bit, gank some lanes, see what you can do.
I think it's just kind of a key principle in League of Legends that if pressure is being implied in one area by a team, that means that there is something else available, right? Yeah. You have to concede something to apply pressure something else. So it's your job as the person being pressured to find that thing.
It's very interesting because the pressure is you either hit them head-to-head and beat them in a pressure battle, or you go around them and you make sure it's like, okay, we're taking Dragon, well, we're going to middle, right? Those types of things, and recognizing that as a shot caller is very key, especially in the moment when you have the pressure on.
All right, and finally, at Renegade Crumbs asks, well, do you want to take this one, maybe?
Yeah, Zyrene, I was going to ask, who do you think is the better actor and rapper between Ludacris and Ice Cube? Both have seemed to have a very
illustrious
career in both children's movies and rapping. So what's your take on it?
Oh, man. I'm going to go Ice Cube on this one.
Why?
Oh.
Because I know him more. Like, I know Ludacris
from... You're friends with the Ice Cube?
You know him from his...
he's in my freezer. You know, I use Ice Cubes all the time. No, I'm more familiar with Ice Cube than I am Ludacris. Okay. Unfortunately, I'm not a big rap fan, so I can't answer this question with great expertise in that. But in terms of better actor, it's still probably going to go Ice Cube.
Yeah, Crumbs. You posed the question, so I must assume that you have a belief when it comes to this.
Oh, well, personally, I would side more towards Ludacris as opposed to Ice Cube. You know, I think that a large part of his career came from the NWE days, but Ludacris now is more of an entrepreneur as well, which doesn't fall into the category of actor or rapper, but the hits that he had with Snoop Dogg back in the day really are the things that solidified him.
So do you think it is that his rapping career kind of which part of it is his acting career, his rapping career is what actually puts him over the edge?
It's both, really. The intertwining of both.
I like it. Okay. Well, we're getting into the weeds with that one. Thank you, both of you, for taking the time to answer these questions. You know, that is going to do it for our show today. We, of course, want to thank you, Crumbs, for joining us on the analyst desk and sharing all of your insight.
Special thanks from Riv for filling in for him.
Yeah, special thanks for Riv. Riv was a little terrified that he was going to have to be on the desk all day. Now for myself, the casters, and the entire live broadcast crew. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.
The beginning of the North American LCS quarterfinals are here. Team Impulse versus Team Dignitas. The shutdown via Shifter. The chase on in. That's the ace for Team Dignitas. Could be Mara too. Adra's doing some damage. She's doing it again with Autodex. Here comes the Echo. One in from Shen. Shifter should be enough. There's the game. Team Impulse take game 1. Cross javelin lands. There's the engage. Bond shot to Apollo. He goes down. They pick up the primary AD carry. The flash run. They catch Helios. There's the ulti. What a beautiful pickup. Apollo gets the kill. They are one game away from the semifinal. Can Dignitas pull it back if they lose? This is the end of their season. The kills just keep going. Shifter rush. Yeah, a couple of trades back. Nice Nova Shifter picks up another one. Core JJ helping out. The wrong side flashes. Dodges the rocket. Oh my god, they got Shifter. 3-0. Team Impulse into the semifinals.